City of Portage Planning Commission meeting for Monday, May 1st, 2023. If you would stand and say the pledge. Mr. Monroe, could you call roll?
Tom Sherry,
Here.
Gina Geis-Hurst,
Here.
Sam LeBoy,
Here.
John Harrison,
Here.
Charles Thompson,
Here.
Melissa Weidenbach,
Here.
Kevin Witherspoon,
Here.
Denise Little.
Here. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at the minutes for February 6th and April 3rd? If there are no corrections or additions, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And reports of officers or committees?
Yes, Madam President, we did receive correspondence from Hortensia Moreno, who served on the Plan Commission as a Park Board appointment, that she's resigned from the Park Board, so she will no longer be serving on the Plan Commission. We did receive that correspondence from Hortensia a couple days ago. I'll expect someone, the Park Board, to select somebody to serve as their liaison or member of the Plan Commission, and as soon as I hear from them, I'll share that information with the commission.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Could you call our first order of business?
First item under new business is Z0123, Hector Lopez, care of Great Lakes Engineering, 6084 Lute Road, Portage, Indiana, requesting a change of zoning from OC Office Commercial to R2 Low Density Residential for a 2.6 plus acre parcel at 6439 Central Avenue.
No, we're going to have you at the desk right here. Just grab that. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. My name's Andy Maletta. I'm a commercial real estate agent representing Mr. Lopez, asking for this change of zoning on the parcel. Mr. Lopez owns this parcel. If you're familiar with it, it's on Central Avenue, kind of across from Readers. There's a historic 100-year-old home way up to on the top of a hill on the property, and the rest of the property is wooded. Sometime back, that property was changed from residential, probably with the last master plan and zoning change, changed to office commercial. Mr. Lopez owns that property, lives in that home. Again, the home's in beautiful condition. He's been trying to sell it for some time, and we're running across the issue with it being zoned commercial. Residential buyers who are interested in that home can't buy it. You know, they can't get a regular mortgage on a commercial property where they can on a residential. So he's been really unable to do anything with that home. So the ask here is to change it back to R2, to what it was originally. There's behind that property is the school. It also abuts a little bit of residential property from Airport Road on what would be the southeast side of that property, as you can see on the map. It's going to be a house. I mean, I don't think the city would like to see a house there converted to a business. No one's really interested in doing that. It's not like the other Central Avenue homes that are right up on the street. This one, again, that house is way up on a hill. It's a beautiful home. And taking it back to residential, it just feels like that would be the right thing to do for that property. Somewhere in the future, if someone was to come in and want to do something commercially, obviously they'd have to come before this board and others to try to do something. But in the meantime, the request is just to take it back to what it originally was, many years ago. Just seems to make sense for this house.
Okay, thank you. Before I open the public hearing, if anybody does not feel comfortable speaking in public, you can submit a written report, and we will put that into the record for you. We have quite a few people here tonight, so once you stand up to speak, we ask that the next people don't say the exact same thing, so that everybody says something a little bit different. We would still like you to come up to the podium, sign in with your name and address so we can acknowledge that you were at the meeting and did want to speak. So right now I will open the public hearing for our first case. Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? If not, I close the public hearing and open to the board for questions. Gina, do you want to give us a report from the DRC?
Yes, so the DRC, when we met, it was presented and we all voted for the approval.
How long has this property been for sale? Couple of years?
For sale?
Yeah.
No. It's been for sale for about a year and a half. Yeah.
I don't know if my,
But that's from Mr. Lopez.
That from Mr. Buse, right.
What about prior?
it had been for sale for, I don't know the exact length, but for quite some time before Mr. Lopez bought it. But since he's had it, he's had it listed. I'm actually the second broker to have it. Somebody had it for a year before I did, and then we've been trying to sell it since last August.
I do want to mention the DRC did not vote, but nobody opposed it.
The difficulty with this is because it is a unique hardship, that once you have an existing home, for somebody for commercial to come in and rehab it to a commercial site is very difficult. If you look at tearing the house down, what value is left in the lot? So I believe that we should go back to the R2. Any other comments? May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
It wouldn't be a motion to approve, it's a motion to send a
Oh,
favorable recommendation.
Recommendation to the city council.
I make a motion to send a positive.
Recommendation to the city council.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Monroe, could you call roll?
Tom Cherry,
Yes.
Gina Geis-Hurst,
Yes.
Sam LaBoy,
Yes.
John Harrison,
Yes.
Charles Thompson,
Yes.
Melissa Weidenbach,
Yes.
Kevin Witherspoon,
Yes.
Denise Little.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Wish you luck.
Here we go.
Mr. Monroe, could you call our second order of business?
Second item under new business is P0222, RCJJ Development LLC, 14400 Lakeshore Drive, Cedar Lake, Indiana, seeking primary plat approval for Bauer Farm subdivision, 57.95 acres at the 600 block of 700 North, 236 lots.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. McClure?
All right, so we have a little bit of a unique situation with this case tonight. We are going to do the we are going to do the public comment. I would request the board to leave the public comment open until the next meeting. Basically, what we have here is Plan Commission, and that's what we're going to talk about. The Plan Commission has given staff the direction that these things don't go on the primary plat approval, doesn't go on the agenda until it's basically the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed, and they've gone through DRC. In this particular case, what we have, even as we sit at this moment, we don't have sanitary sign off quite yet. That may be becoming this week. And as of today, we have not, even though we reached out to our consulting engineer for stormwater, we still did not get the approval as of yet today, which, however, we do think it's forthcoming. But we had a situation where the petitioner had done the notifications in the paper into the surrounding property owners. So I didn't think it would be a fair situation to have the public notified of a meeting and told that they can come and have their moment to tell us how they feel about a petition. So we revised the agenda to put them back on. But ultimately, tonight, the Plan Commission, I don't believe is in a position to be able to approve primary plat because we haven't had sanitary completed and we don't have stormwater completed at this point. I believe this came into some misunderstanding coming out of DRC, but this had gone to DRC, who I believe our DRC appointment was there when it did go through DRC. Created some, and DRC for the public is the Developmental Review Committee that is in charge of going through with the fine-tooth comb. It's also where all the city departments have a chance to be able to have a chance to put their input into the requested primary plat. So it looks like, just for some dates for the Plan Commission, the application was received March 27th. DRC heard the petition on April 11th. The comments back, the DRC comments were received on Friday, April 14th, and forwarded to the petitioner. The revised plans, as would be normal course, that came back from the petitioner were submitted via email and a link on Friday, April 21st, with hard copies delivered on the 24th. But I believe at that point in time, we were already past the publishing deadline, which is why we had not provided the notice for the publication. So now we've had it back, and like I would say, like I said earlier, I believe it's sanitary. They have, I believe they might even be meeting this week with the sanitary board. There's some things with the sanitary board that they're varying, and I'm not sure if that's the right terminology for the sanitary board or not, but off of their standard design sheet, they need to get some approval from the sanitary board. And then also, we're not sure yet if there's a variance for stormwater needed or not, but I believe it's Christopher Burke that does the consulting engineering for stormwater.
Yes.
Even as of today, he wasn't in a position to say, hey, I think we're all good and it's good to go. So ultimately, that's why we're here tonight. So I think we do need to hear the presentation. We do need to hear the public comment. And then we need to, my recommendation would be to leave the public comment open to the next meeting, allow the process to continue, so that when they are back in front of the board, all the i's are dotted and all the t's are crossed. And also would be able to answer all of the questions that the public may or may not have concerning the specifics of the petition.
Thank you. And I apologize to the public that you had to come out tonight before we were ready. I will go ahead and allow you to do your presentation.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Joseph Svetnoff, and I'm with the law firm of Kafka Pincus Dolan. We're located at 9801 Connecticut Drive in Crown Point, Indiana, and we're here representing RCJJ Development LLC, the petitioner in this matter tonight. We're here tonight for a public hearing to discuss the primary subdivision / plat approval of an approximately 236 lot, 57 acre plus or minus residential subdivision commonly known as Bauer Farm, located in the 600 block of 700 North, City of Portage, Indiana. We're here tonight because of two important dates. On September 7, 2022, the City of Portage eventually adopted an ordinance number 15, allowing the 57 plus or minus acres to be annexed into the city as an R4 single-family residential zoning district. And then on October 7, 2022, our client filed an annexation agreement with the city laying out responsibilities of our client as the developer of Bauer Farm itself. Within the informational packets previously delivered by our client to the Plan Commission, they included the following: application for primary plat approval for the City of Portage with attachments, stormwater and detention calculations of Turinga Engineering, correspondence of the Bauer Farm development from Turinga Engineering to Christopher Burke Engineering, report of geotechnical exploration from KS Engineering, and a State of Indiana Rule 5 form, notice of intent. We respectfully request that the Plan Commission conduct the public hearing tonight and eventually make a favorable recommendation on this petition primary subdivision plat approval to the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? I'll have you go up one at a time. We can have one at the podium, one waiting, and then when that person moves up, then the next person can stand. And if you'll sign the paper with your name, address, and I believe phone numbers on there.
What's that? Oh.
This is for Bauer Farm,
Correct.
not Sandy Trails, right off of Route 6.
That's correct. Hello, my name is Don Pavey. I'm here against the subdivision that's being proposed. I do have a petition that's been signed by probably most of the people here. I'd like to give to you guys. I also have a copy of what's on the petition.
Thank you.
It's kind of the best we could do with the short notice we got with the notifications. As you can see from the map, where the proposed subdivision is, south of 700, there are no other subdivisions in that area. It's all country living, big lots, and farmland, which all of us moved out there for. I lived in Portage for about 14 years in a subdivision, and I moved out there to the country to get away from them. And now there's one being proposed to go right in my backyard. So I have a few questions. I heard about environmental study and assessment. I'd like to know if that has been done with the ground elevation that's being proposed and already done to not flood the lands around it, because from what I can tell, it is going to, especially to the west. I want to know where the water's going. I now understand that the storm sewer has not been approved, but Duck Creek is not on that property, not accessible to that property from what I can tell, and that's where the permit that's posted says it will go. I also want to know about the existing drain tile that's on the property that's being cut into and causing other properties to flood. That is a concern, and I guess it has happened to at least one person. The impact to the wildlife in the area. We moved to the country for a reason. We have bald eagles. We have all kinds of wildlife out there that we enjoy. I want to know how this is going to impact that. And also the sanitation. I'm currently on a well septic. Is it going to be septic out there? Is it going to be city sewer? Those are questions I'd like answered on that. I also want to know if there's a study on the impact of the increased traffic on the county roads that are currently congested. That subdivision, if approved, will put 500-plus cars on those county roads, which is not Portage's problem because it's not Portage roads, it's county roads. But if you go on the corner of 625 and 700 at any time during the afternoon, you're sitting for 15 minutes. So with that, has that been addressed? Has that been looked at? Has the county been contacted about stop signs or stoplights at that location for the proposed traffic? That's a big concern to us in that area also. Also, have you assessed your services for the area? Police, fire, EMT, street and sanitation. I know it was proposed and talked about at earlier meetings that you guys are already stressed. You already call other municipalities to help out in Portage currently, and now you're want to put a subdivision south away from everybody that can be helped. It's going to take longer times. I don't believe that's a safe situation for anybody that would live there. These are the concerns, along with the ones listed on the petition. If you want, I can read them all, but you guys got them in front of you. If you need any of them explained, I can explain them for you, but this is what we came up with all the neighbors. And those are all concerns and signed by the neighbors. So what I'm asking is that you diligently look at this, and I'm asking for continuance until all these can be addressed and publicly discussed. And basically, we don't want the subdivision in there. It's going to ruin our way of life. It's going to be a nuisance. It's ruining everything that we moved out there for. So that's all I have unless you have any questions.
And that's why we're continuing it, so that we can have all these answers. And we would want you to be at the next meeting so that we can go ahead and discuss that and have all those answers for you.
And when would that be?
It should be June 5th, no, June 5th. I hope I'm right. June 5th.
Okay.
And they will receive another mailing. Okay, June 5th.
Okay, just so you know, that first mailing, a lot of people didn't accept it because they didn't know what it was. All they got was a registered letter. They weren't expecting it. A lot of people turned it away. So that's a problem in itself because a lot of people, my neighbor Luke talked to, did not even know what this was happening. So that's a concern also. But thank you for your time. Hope I didn't take away from anybody, but those are our concerns at the moment. I know they already started construction out there or moving dirt. That concerns me. I saw it was posted they could do environmental work, but it looks like they're already ready to do the subdivision and raising the grade, and that's a serious concern on our properties, especially for water levels in that area. So, thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Liz Reed. I live on 672 West 700 North. So the back of my property, mine and my husband's property, butts right up to the potential residential area. I have some of the same points, but in a slightly different context, and definitely feel passionate about this for the same reasons, you know, that this is, we all moved to this area of town because we still wanted to be near Portage, but we wanted to enjoy the beauty of nature. So I'm going to just read what I have written up here. The noted 270 to 295,000 in tax revenue this town would quote-unquote gain is already upside down. And the impacts are easy to see if you choose to do your research upon making such crucial decisions. So let's start with traffic, and I know he mentioned it, but this has a slight different take for me. It is one way in and one way out. Right, minimum of 236 to 500 cars coming out at 5:30, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning to get to work and school. And how will that traffic be handled? Because if you turn left or right coming out of that, you're hitting a stop sign in less than a quarter mile each way. One of those is directly in front of my house. And I have 3 kids that go to 3 different Portage schools, living at an already busy intersection where accidents happen at least 5 times a year. Drivers speed past, pass around stopped buses, roll through the stop sign constantly, and that is putting our children at risk and in harm's way because people are in a rush to get where they need to be. And now you want to exacerbate the traffic at an astronomical rate with no upfront solution on how to handle it. And that's just not safe for my kids. So it's not okay by me. Now that's at least tripled the threat of accidents occurring, not to mention no traffic control plan yet. So how much is it going to cost to buy new buses and employ drivers, maintenance, road work, traffic flow, et cetera? From what I understand, one bus alone costs $90,000 to $290,000. So next point would be schools. This new subdivision falls into the South Haven Elementary District with an average of 25 to 28 students per classroom. How will they be able to accommodate the number of students coming in and at what cost? Portage is already struggling to get enough buses and bus drivers to safely get our kids to school, and every family with children has been affected by the schedule changes that took place this new school year to adjust to a problem that already exists. So will we need to build a new school, a daycare, expand the existing ones? How much will that cost the taxpayers? And what is that plan? What's the plan for discussion of losing the freedoms of being unincorporated. What freedoms will be taken from me having lived in a low-density area for 20 years now? That will now be what, medium to high density, I guess. Can I still hunt my land? Can, probably not, because the wildlife's now being chased out anyway. And what does the DNR have to say about that? Were they consulted in all of this? I'd be curious to know about that. Can I still shoot a gun if I so choose to? According to the laws we've abided by and been privileged with, will we still be allowed those rights? Or will that promise of freedom be taken away? Can we ride our ATVs, or will that be considered a nuisance? And what about property value? The main reason every resident has purchased their land and home surrounding this farm is because we don't want to be in the middle of a residential neighborhood. So we love the space, freedom, and nature we chose to surround ourselves with. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was the R4 subdivisions aren't necessarily, they're meant to be closer to city center as opposed to the outskirts of town. And our small unincorporated area of Portage Township is the last of its kind. I don't want to see that go away. It's part of the charm of our town. Another point of concern is crime. Out of approximately 700 to 1,000 people moving into these homes, how many criminals are you introducing to my backyard? Like, what's the average? 5%, 10%? And how many curious children and teens do you think will walk through my woods and down my trail to end up at our pole barns housing equipment and tools to be used when you have land? Why is it okay to impact our safety? Will Portage handle the criminal issues or Porter County Sheriff? If we're lucky, maybe we can be approved for another grant to cover 20 grand towards one new cop car, but how many more policemen, firemen, EMTs, teachers, bus drivers, city employees need to be hired? What will that cost the city? So upside down, as I said. Electrical outages. Is there the capacity to supply this small of an area without affecting the established residents with outages that last days? Is NIPSCO equipped to handle that? And what sense of urgency would they have? Up till now, we haven't really had a lot of problems, but adding something like this to it seems like it would be problematic for us. Make me feel better about my home and land of 20 years. Being surrounded with a neighborhood built on state minimums. Justify to me shoving 236 houses on 50 acres. Why is it appropriate for a zone change to happen when other areas of Portage are already equipped to provide the necessary requirements? Why is it okay that we were not formally informed of this annex that encroaches on our very homes and property? I'm an unincorporated Portage Township resident. That means I didn't get to vote you into office. But I have to live with your political decisions on what happens to my home, property, and way of life. Explain how all of this will benefit my family and my neighbors. As a lifelong resident of 50 years, I've watched the town grow, and I don't have a problem with growth and change for the betterment of my community. But when you can't keep up with providing the support that the already existing residents need, how do you expect us to thrive while continuing to compound the stress on our community? Why are we letting greed and a few people that don't even live here determine the future state of our lovely Midwestern town that was built on the appreciation for land, sustenance, hard work, and family? Who is agreeing to this for the right reasons? Ooh. Sorry. Whew, hot. Right. And so just to wrap it up, throughout my years of travel for work, I gained a great appreciation for home, the Midwestern flavor, being able to drive 2 minutes straight into town to everything and 2 minutes out to the middle of nowhere. And it's a state of mind and a beautiful place to be. I'm sure many residents can agree with that, and it's priceless to me. But you are allowing the greed of a few people who could really care less about our sanctity to damage something so precious. I hate to see it come to that because I don't know what the boundaries are to what's next. when something like this is happening, and, yeah, it doesn't affect the person who's gaining from it, so, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Michael Strieski, and if somebody could bring that map back. I live at 658 West, 700 North, which, when the map comes back up, I'm the square in the corner of this mess. Now, that right there, right where, yeah, I'm like, my house is under the A. I've lived there for 16 years now, and I can tell you this. While I agree with what everybody else said, I've had a perfect view of that property for the last 16 years. Every time it rains, there's a pond there. There's a huge body of water that will last for maybe a week, 10 days. It has ducks swimming in it. Now, from what I've seen, because they're out there digging that place up. I mean, it would cost probably $75,000, $80,000 to put it back to the way it was before. I don't know if any of you have gone by there to see what they're doing. So they're pretty sure this is all going to go through, or they wouldn't be spending the money to do it. But they brought in a bunch of sand, probably thinking that's going to help with the drainage. It's not. There's water sitting on the sand right now. There's giant puddles everywhere out there. They're not working today, probably because their machinery would get stuck. Now, the way I see it is that water's got to go somewhere. And right now, from looking at the grade of the land, a lot of it's going to go towards me. And, you know, a lot of it's going to fill the ditch alongside the road, 700, and then it's going to go out onto the road. Now, if they tie into the sewer drain to drain off that water, then pretty much all of those houses on the other side of me in 700 are potential plaintiffs for the class action lawsuit against Portage when their basements get flooded from the sewer system. There just is no place for that water to go. And from the plans that I've seen, there's no retention pond. You know, they're trying to squeeze every single house they possibly can in there. And I have to say, from looking at the size of the lots, they're not going to be great houses. They're not going to be the kind of houses that we want in Portage. But that's what they're going to build. So, you know, that's the first problem. The second problem is, ever since they built that subdivision that has its only entrance and exit off of Willow Creek Road, it's kind of a lot of duplexes. Yes. There hasn't been great water pressure because I don't know if, yeah, that's it, the one with all the curvy streets. The water pressure has not been that great. I don't think anybody in this area is going to be able to take a shower once this subdivision is built. And I haven't heard anybody say anything about that yet. So that's something that needs to be addressed, and I haven't heard it addressed at all. But the biggest problem and the immediate problem is going to be the storm runoff. Because right now, with that having been an open field, the water didn't drain. You cover most of that land with asphalt, sidewalks, buildings, and you know, it's just going to be a mess. And I can tell you this limited liability company that was created for the purpose of this development will be gone when this development's over. I mean, that's why they create them, so they can dissolve them afterwards, so that when there's the lawsuits that come up afterwards, there's nobody there to sue. So it's going to be Portage that's going to wind up carrying that burden. And, you know, that's that's going to be another expense that the city can't afford. That's all I have about this.
Thank you.
My name's James Richmond. I live at 649 North 700 West. I guess besides what I agree with everybody, what everybody said, I'd like to ask the city of Portage why there's not a permit that's involved in clear cutting 5 acres of woods, especially during the springtime with all the animals. The county has a permit, but the city of Portage does not. Does anybody know why?
That I'll have to find out for you.
I'd like to hear that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lucas Sponder. I live at 640 North, 625 West. One thing, I agree with everybody had to say. One additional thing I'd like to say is in their plans, there's plans to make additional roads leaving the property versus leaving on 700. And those are owned by my friends, and neither have plans to sell that land to make a road for them to leave. That's according to their plans from the city. Also, from just the light rain that we've had, my property has also been underwater from the construction on kitty corner of where they've been building. So I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do about the rain floods and the water runoffs.
Thank you. You signed in?
I will.
Hi, my name's Chuck Schoon. I have property at 630 North, 625 West, 18 acres there. And I'm not in favor of the subdivision at all. I didn't buy the property to build a house there, to have somebody build houses on a lot that's 50 foot wide. What are you gonna put in, trailers? The minimum, we would want, $500,000 houses on there on at least acre lots or something like that, Size lots, again, what are they gonna put in there on a 50-foot wide lot?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else to speak against the petitioner?
Hi, I'm on 676 West, 700 North of the property, and I concur with what everyone says here. It just don't seem like it would do our neighborhood any kind of justice. I already have to have cameras, security, because people come to my property from the other neighborhood that was put in years ago. I'm against it, not for it at all. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Ingrid Karahalis.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else to speak against the petitioner? Is there anybody to speak against the petitioner?
Madam President, we did receive a written correspondence regarding this.
Thank you.
This is from Ms. Rondi L. Solives of 688 West, 700 North. First of all, this area was annexed without prior notification to any of the surrounding property owners. Secondly, this notice arrived in my mailbox without postage on Saturday, April 29th, notifying us of a meeting that is taking place on Monday, May 1st. In this letter, it is stated that written remonstrations are encouraged to be filed before the meeting. Common sense dictates that this is not possible due to the timing of the developers and/or the city of Portage issuing this notice. Luckily, I should be able to drop this letter off at the appropriate office. Most won't be able to make the time nor the meeting. Thirdly, just drive down 700 North, west of Swanson Street. This decision seems to have already been made. This area should be zoned as wetlands. The ground is soaked. There are fields that turn into ponds. Ducks have nested in front yards after a rain. Drainage is a major issue that seems to only worsen. Look at the wonderful work that was done on Willow Creek Road. The city has even posted signs that the area may flood. May flood, another fine example of an exemplary engineering feat. Adding another 236 homes, traffic, and people, removing all of the woods, creating another engineering public disaster. Also, 700 North is another disaster just as it is. Add the traffic from 236 more homeowners. Obviously, the current residents in the area, the additional traffic, and the drainage water problems really do not matter. Line the pockets of these already moving forward with this publicly created disaster. With all due respect, those involved had no respect for the current residents of the surrounding area.
Thank you. Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? I am not closing the public hearing because we are inviting you all back on June 5th to come back, and the public hearing will still be open. And we will have answers for the questions that you all have. I wrote them all down, so we will have that for you too.
You can allow the petitioner to answer whatever they want to answer now.
I'd rather wait till we have information from the stormwater and the engineers, because a lot of these questions need to be answered by our parties, by our engineers, so that we know. May I have a motion?
Make a motion to table until the June 5th meeting, keeping public hearing open.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Mr. Monroe, could you call roll?
Tom Cherry,
Yes.
Gina Geis-Hurst,
Yes.
Sam LaBoy,
Yes.
John Harrison,
Yes.
Charles Thompson,
Yes.
Melissa Weidenbach,
Yes.
Kevin Witherspoon,
Yes.
Denise Little.
Yes. Did you call our third order of business? I'm sorry.
PD 0123, RCJJ Development LLC, care of Steve Kill, 14400 Lakeshore Drive, Cedar Lake, Indiana, seeking approval of the preliminary development plan for Sandy Trails Development, 54 plus or minus acres south of 5419 US Highway 6.
Again, we have a similar situation. The petitioners had done their public notice for this meeting. Didn't come from the city. This is a rezone along with the primary plat request. It hadn't gone to DRC yet, so it hadn't been reviewed by DRC. I believe it was slated to go to DRC in May, and then be lined up on that track. So, again, I would recommend the same. Have the public hearing, and I would recommend continuing it with the public hearing open to the next meeting.
I'll go ahead and let you do your presentation.
Thank you. Good evening. Again, my name is Joseph Svetnoff with the law firm of Coppock, Ping & Stolen, located 9801 Commercial Drive. Crown Point, Indiana. We are representing RCJJ Development LLC, petitioner in this matter. We are here tonight for a public hearing to discuss the zone change petition for a development commonly known as Sandy Trail from M1 to C2 zoning classes into a planned development which involves parcels of land located US 6 in the city of Portage, Porter County, Indiana. Within the informational packets previously provided by our client to this Plan Commission, they include the proposed zone change petition, zone change ordinance, and the development plan for Sandy Trail. We respectfully request that the Plan Commission conduct the public hearing tonight and eventually make a favorable recommendation on this petition for zone change to the City Council. One clarification for the record, from my understanding from the client here tonight, we did attend the DRC. We have attended a DRC committee meeting on this.
We actually went to a DRC committee meeting and came to the Plan Commission.
That was the Bauer.
That was Sandy.
It was Sandy. I- You haven't got your zoning change for your PUD yet. Are you coming to the BZA?
No. They were on a sketch plan for the proposed PUD. They came before the DRC and became before plan. Now this is the next step. So they go back to, they've done their application, they go to DRC, and then they come back to plan.
Their PUD was never approved.
That's why we're here.
So it would come to the Planning Commission June 5th.
That would be my recommendation, to put it back on the agenda
Okay.
for our next meeting.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with the public hearing. I now open the public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak for the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? And what I'll have you do, I'll have you go first, and then if you could be behind her so that we can save some time, because I'd like everybody to be able to say what they want to say and not give them a 2-minute time limit, and that way we can keep moving.
Hi, my name is Lou T-Rock. I am at 3478 Debbie Lane, and I am a...
Can you fix her microphone?
She has to push it, I believe.
Can you push while you talk?
Okay, I have to hold it down
You
while
you
I'm
have to
talking?
hold, we have to hold it down.
Okay. My name is Lou T-Rock. I live at 3478 Debbie Lane, Portage. I've lived there for 33 years. And as a concerned adjacent property owner, I would like to encourage the members of the Planning Commission to deny this requested petition for zone change from M1 duplexes to PD planned development. In 2021, developers of this property, albeit under a different name, they sought significant changes to the M1 zoning ordinance terms, which would yield a very dense duplex development of 366 residences. In 2021, all requested zoning variances were denied. My understanding of the requested PD planned development classification is that there are no zoning requirements to which the developer must adhere. And it appears that the developer writes their own specifications for the development of the site. Essentially, this appears to be an end run around the zoning board's decision of 2021. My concerns today as presented are the same as presented before the zoning board, and I would like to mention them again. As far as the drainage, As owner of both east and west corners of Route 6 and Debbie Lane since 1991, I have observed the property in question in all seasons through my front window. Every spring, there's a lovely spring pond that finally slowly drains. It is obvious that the area in question has drainage issues. Is the contractor developer planning to remedy the drainage issues by altering the topography? With any development, the exposed area for water absorption may be seriously reduced. The neighbors at the very north cul-de-sac end of Debbie Lane already suffer from a very high water table condition. Is there the potential that water problems for those neighbors may be compounded by dense, unrestricted PD development of the property in question? The county is well aware of this reoccurring problem. However, any remedy will be very costly. In addition, as these residents are also on aged septic systems, the impact of any water flow change should be seriously considered. And then there's traffic. For the sake of argument, let's assume that the PD zone change is granted and developers are allowed to proceed with density comparable to that which was proposed and denied in 2021. The plat map indicates only 2 egresses from this development, North Debbie Lane to Route 6 or south to 700 North. This development will yield a significant increase in the volume of traffic on both pathways. For example, the 2021 development of the parcel called for 183 lots, all duplexes. 183 lots times 2 average vehicles per home translates to 366 new vehicles in the area. But if one lot could be a duplex, then that number doubles. 183 lots times 2 for duplexes times 2 cars each is 732 new vehicles, either going north onto Route 6 or south onto 700. Over time, the traffic on Route 6 has increased with the commercial expansion east of Swanson Road. Speed limits are routinely disregarded by private vehicles as well as commercial semis. Route 6 is also a major access for emergency use, fire trucks, ambulances, the police. Increased traffic from this proposed development on the south side of Route 6 at Debbie Lane may create more difficulties and hazards, as 700 North is a 2-lane county road with minimal quick connections. Most traffic will use Route 6 east or west to access business and travel destinations for work or for shopping. No doubt residents of this new development will begin clamoring for a stop sign as abatement of traffic difficulties they experience when attempting to merge onto Route 6. And I, for one, would oppose a stoplight installation in my front yard. Over the years, as Portage was developed, it seems there was a concerted effort to keep the through streets to a minimum. There are only a few main arteries that run flush north to south, east to west. In the 2021 plans for this tract, there were only 3 north-south streets. Will the Portage planners have an opportunity to address traffic flow in this proposed PD development? I understand and appreciate that the owner, RCJJ Development, acquired this tract of agricultural land with every intention of profitable development. As my background is 52 years in construction accounting, so I kind of understand where they're going. I also understand that the City of Portage welcomes conversion of agricultural land to residential projects. Increased tax revenue is always welcome, but this development should be a thoughtful, beneficial complement to the city, conforming to established rules, regulations, and ordinances. Bolstering profit margins by circumventing established dictates benefits only the developer and not the community. Tiny homes on tiny lots may bring lots of big problems in the future. I would encourage the members of the Planning Commission to deny the requested petition for zone change from M1 to PD. Forfeiting control over progress development by granting PD classification is an invitation for abuse of accepted wise beneficial norms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lucas Heyer, and I am at 5465 US Highway 6. If you could pull up the map, I'd be kind of like the gentleman over here in the middle of all that stuff. I'm a smaller square over there. Yes. So I more or less, I just was notified of this, I think, last week, so I pretty much just have some questions because I don't really know anything about this. Where are they going to access? Are they going to go from 700 or to Ridge or Route 6? Both. And then, so the other thing, so you had another development that is just south of there with 234 homes. So now you're going to access, and is this for duplexes or is this single family homes? Duplexes. So this one is for duplexes? So the lady said, so you're going to be now about 1,000 cars. So now that's going to empty at 700 and the other one's going to be 700. That's that's major concern there. So there's basically over 100 acres that's going to be developed, and it's right by each other, back to back. Do they have much frontage on 6? Is there enough to?
You can see the frontage there on Route 6.
And so that's just going to be like a driveway coming into the neighborhood then, or? Kind of? I don't know.
We don't have the final.
Yeah, I just have questions, really. She was really prepared. She said a lot of good stuff. I just really have some questions. Yeah, I'm not as good as that. I just want to know what, it just seems that I didn't know about the development before this on south of 700. And so now I'm like, wow, that's a lot for an area I know is not prepared for that. It doesn't sound like, I don't know. So how would I get information on the development?
After we have
Okay,
the preliminary plat,
June 5th. All right, thanks.
And you can also come into the office, and they'll be able to give you the information. Planning Department.
Okay, so we're Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez, we're 5419 US Highway 6, the address that's on the paper, so everybody knows us. So we are, where are we on there, Flo?
on Highway,
Highway 6.
Highway 6,
Yeah.
5419,
The 3 partials.
yeah.
016 parcel,
Yeah.
in the second.
Yeah, that's us, the little one. Okay, so
Tiny.
now, question, they own a lot right next to us. And so what is the plans for that lot, which presently, all within the last few years since they bought this property, they've not maintained it, and I said that at the last meeting. I said they never mow the lawn. My husband mows the lawn, because if you don't, you get all the mice and all kind of, and they come onto our property. Also, the cornfield was always in the back, so nice, the deer go back there. even though we live on 6th and it's so busy. We had that back area and it felt like,
Woodsy.
yeah, like woodsy, like, okay, we'll put up with that because we got that. But now we're not gonna have the back because they have it. So now it floods back there all the time anyway. I know everybody else said that, but it's bad. There's ducks because it floods so bad. So we're worried about that. So what is the plans for the lot? And why isn't it being maintained? And why isn't it not required of them to maintain it? So we're gonna have to mow the lawn and everything and all summer long. We don't own that lot, but we do that because it's next to us, you know? And so that, and what are the plans for that lot?
And that will have June 5th.
June 5th. Okay. Did you sign us? Okay.
I have one.
Oh, yeah, we should do.
Since I'm the maintenance man out there on
Highway
Highway
6.
6.
You do the also Highway 6?
Yes, that practically. I do 4 lots, and when Deep Blue went in there, I cut their grass. I was, come on, you guys, let's go. Let's make business for us, right here at the community. I'm a little tired because I'm doing it manually, but that's all right. The Marine Corps taught me how to do it, so. I'm against the zoning because I don't know that, and I talked to the lady in,
Dina.
Dina, about the zoning of, I know about the law of, if the state takes your domain, they have the right to, but does the Portage have the right to take it for whatever that they want? And
If it's rezoned,
if it's rezoned,
what's the law with that?
yeah. In the minutes, you know, I don't know the bylaws of Portage history, but we've only been here 5 years, so we're learning, so.
So what is the law with, like, let's say they start building behind us and then they say, well,
No,
we
we-
want,
this-
you know, your property and then,
All right, let's start with whether it's the state or county
Or
or
county,
Portage.
or Portage.
Right.
Any
Right.
governmental entity
Yeah.
is not allowed to take your property without a process and payment.
Okay.
We are a long way away from
okay.
We're a long way.
anything like that.
Okay, we're
well-
just putting that on the table.
Yeah.
We
And
don't
I'm,
know what's gonna happen.
right, and I'm still gonna cut the grass, so,
Okay.
that's my contribution.
All right, so we'd like
Okay.
those questions answered at the next meeting.
And we'll have that information
Thank
next
you.
month.
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Chuck Schoon again. I also own 9 acres right next to, or down the street from where this subdivision's going in, and I don't like duplexes or subdivisions or this company. And I plan on, I plan on fighting till the end on all of it. People know I got money to do it too, so welcome to the fight.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Daniel Georgievich, 5427 US Highway 6. Can you have that map again? Okay. That's me, 004, 226004, right there. I got this house in 2002. And the owner of these 2 parcels to the right sold them, that one and the next one to the right, below, the big ones. Sold them to one of the previous owners. I don't know how many owners these parcels had since 2002. I don't know how many owners was changed. But right where the cursor is a little bit south, there was a house. Right there to the right, there was to the right in their land, right there. There was a house that was torn down. And you see the wood up north, that wooden area? That was a big pound to collect all the water. When that guy sold it long time ago to the next person who bought those 2 big lots, we had a meeting and we asked about the water, and and we all kind of agreed to that, and they covered that pond. That's why you have a wood, yeah, right there. It's growing because it was a lot of water before, and they couldn't maintain that. So that pond is gone, and when the Route 6 was widening, the state didn't want to allow us to be connected to the city storm. So I had to come, that was Olga Velasquez was the mayor. I had to come to the office and show her that paper that now I couldn't find, that they needed to install the ditch alongside my property and to allow this. So finally, they let my land and the restaurant, seafood, to be connected to the city storm drainage. But they didn't build a ditch, or maybe just a half of my property was built, and they're supposed to maintain, again, like him, I maintain that ditch and everything. It's just down to the half of my property. If you can go a little bit south now, okay, that's good. You see the right green area right there, circle there, that big green. Why it's green? Because they cannot maintain that land. They cannot put anything. That's all water. All that it's water, and my land, all green, that's all water every time, right there. That's all water. I cannot go with my car on that green area over there. Maybe in the summertime for maybe 2 months. So before, I don't know when was that, 15 years ago or some, we was promised that's going to be taken care of. It's not. So if they and you promise us now that you're going to take care of that water, can we trust that again? Because like I said, I'm there for 21 years, and I'm planning to stay on that land. And I don't want to mention everything else, that we're going to lose privacy and everything and traffic. Everybody else said, you said not to repeat, but I'm with them on that. And I wanted to say that I'm going to be out of country for the next meeting, so I cannot come. I'll be back in July 19th.
You can always submit a letter for what you've said. And then take like pictures of where the water is, circle them and send a letter in.
But this, what I just said now, it's going to be carried to the next meeting? It's going to be.
Correct.
Okay. So that, again, like I said, nobody took care of us, I don't know, 15 years ago, 17, they don't even know that land back then. And I don't know how that's going to be taken care of now. I'm against that, so.
Send your letter.
I have a pictures too, again, if I can find it, because it was a long time ago, and all those papers are, you know, somewhere in pictures, and but I'll try to find it. Thank you.
Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? Is there anybody here to speak against the petitioner? I will not close the public hearing, but I do need a motion.
Make a motion to continue this until the June 5th meeting and keeping the public hearing open.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Monroe, could you read roll, call roll?
Tom Cherry,
Yes.
Gina Geis-Hurst,
Yes.
Sam LaBoy,
Yes.
John Harrison,
Yes.
Charles Thompson,
Yes.
Melissa Weidenbach,
Yes.
Kevin Witherspoon,
Yes.
Denise Little.
Yes. I thank you all for coming out. Mark your calendars, June 5th. 6:30. Same time. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.